The woman's name is Autumn Heather. She and her boyfriend traveled to Russia in 2004 to bring home her new infant son. They never made it back. She says Atlanta-based Amrex Incorporated is partly to blame for the grief she's been feeling ever since.
Right away when I looked at it, I said, this is my son.
This is the first time since his adoption that Autumn Heather has seen video of her son, Ethan. The tape was shot in a Russian orphanage 5 months before the adoption, an adoption handled by Atlanta-based Amrex Incorporated.
Amrex is just doing all the behind-the-scenes, paying people to get things done, but they don't really want to be responsible if anything goes awry.
Amrex gave Heather this medical report. Heather says the only item of note was Ethan's history of bronchitis. But when she got to Russia to bring Ethan home, he weighed only 12 pounds at age 7 months.
He was very thin, and you could see all of his ribs. And I asked about that at the hospital, and they said, well, you know, he'll be okay. I just had never seen a child that thin.
A doctor who appears in Amrex's sales video proclaimed on this State Department medical report that Ethan's general appearance and nutritional status were normal. He proclaimed no illness. The adoption went through.
Almost 2 years later, it's just like it was yesterday in my head.
The night before they were to head home, Ethan died in the hotel. Heather says Amrex staff was of little comfort.
They were trying to immediately place the blame on me, as if there's no possible way they could have given me an ill child. Let's forget the fact that he had been hospitalized for nearly a month and a half. It must have been how I fed him. And I just looked at these people with disbelief.
Heather says getting the autopsy that finally eased her guilt took Amrex 3 months. It confirmed Ethan died of massive organ failure and mucoviscidosis, more commonly known as cystic fibrosis.
We ended up finding out that he had a fatal illness. He had cystic fibrosis.
1 year after his death, Heather had Ethan exhumed for burial near her home in Illinois.
It's just beyond unfair.
She made lots of allegations, and I don't know what to say. I mean, it's a tragedy that she is turning into something else.
Amrex owner Sergei Zasyatkin defends his company and his Moscow staff.
Our employees or associates in Moscow were really bending over. I mean, trying to do everything to accommodate her with any request. Sometimes she was too unreasonable. It's a tragedy that happened, but it happens fairly often. Children do die in Russia.
Look at that worm.
Heather has since adopted a son, Connor, from Guatemala, having mustered enough trust, courage, and money to try again.
I just wanted to be a mother.
Autumn Heather says Amrex offered to do another adoption free of charge, but there's little hope of that now since the company is in bankruptcy, and 180 families who've paid more than $3 million are now waiting for their adoptions to come through.